Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sorting Hat Podcast. I am your host, Michael Barryte, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Katie Reed.
Hey, guys!
And today, we are joined by the wonderful and talented Alexis Simpson.
She's shrugging for everyone who doesn't see her right now.
Which is everyone, because this is a podcast.
Yes. So she's a member of both Story Pirates and Comedy Sports. You can see more from her at itsalexis.com. Thank you for joining us, Alexis.
Thank you for having me, Michael and Katie. And may I just say that right as the podcast started, I almost burped directly into the microphone. Not on purpose, but I didn't have to burp at all. And then I feel like once the podcast started, my body was like, hey, do this loud, annoying noise. Didn't happen though, but
you should follow your feelings. I feel like that's, if we impart any wisdom or advice to people.
Follow the feelings.
Yeah, so next time you want to burp, dude, just do it.
All right, thank you, Katie.
So on the Sorting Hat Podcast, we are not sorting people, but we are sorting things into the various houses of Hogwarts. It is worth noting that I am a Ravenclaw, Katie is a Hufflepuff, and Alexis just took the Pottermore quiz to definitively discover that she is a Gryffindor. And you were under the impression that you were a Ravenclaw.
Yeah. I don't know that much about the houses. I read the books. I felt like the smarty kids were in Ravenclaw, and I'm smart and kind of arrogant about it. Sorry. I just kind of figured that's where I would be. It's I like learning and reading.
Well, if I can give the briefest descriptions based off of what Pottermore has released for Facebook profile pics that you can put those little decals around your profile to declare proudly what you are. Okay. For Ravenclaw, it attributes wit, learning, and wisdom. For Gryffindor, it is courage, bravery, and determination. For Hufflepuff, it is loyal, patient, and fair.
I expected also hungry.
And for Slytherin, proud, ambitious, and cunning.
Yeah.
Which, it's interesting because some of these are the adjectives which you would use to describe, and others of them are things which they would appreciate. So it's sort of a mixed bag on all of you describe a Gryffindor as courageous and determined. I don't know. It's just a weird mix of.
You're saying it lacks parallelism, which is a fundamental rule of grammar for anyone else who was upset by that.
Yeah, just seeing it across, I'm like, I feel like there's something off on this.
Well, listen, maybe whoever wrote this was also a struggling single mother like J.K. Rowling was at the time, wrote this all on a napkin and turned it in to the Pottermore people, and they're like, perfect, and now they're a billionaire too. But they should have gotten an editor.
Yeah. So on this particular episode of the Sorting Hat Podcast, we are going to be dealing with the Eukaryotic Cell.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you got all right. Listen.
And this we had some back and forth. We always ask our guest what are things that you could talk about, and Alexis's response was pretty damn priceless as far as options go.
I don't remember what I said.
And I really should pull it up, so I'm going to. The first response was, horses.
Just horses? What?
Then biology being a secondary option. The Simpsons, specifically seasons 3 through 7
I don't fuck with
only.
anything after 7.
And then math up through pre-calc.
Oh my God.
I don't fuck with anything after pre-calc.
I would have had a panic attack if we had tried to do pre-calc.
And okay, I think you guys made the right choice, not to do math. I feel like, again, I don't want to give anybody panic attacks, anybody in the room, anybody listening. If anybody's listening to this while driving and just has to think about, I don't know, sine, cosine, or tangent, or polynomial long division, and just drives off a bridge.
Yeah,
I don't want
if you're
to be
on an elliptical, you don't want to be thinking about functions.
No.
You want to be having fun, kids.
But at some point, we might be sorting those math things.
Think about tutoring. That was inspiring. At some point, we should think about math?
At some point, we might be dealing with math. So
That's fine.
Right now, we are kind as far as that which we are sorting.
So.
Yeah, that'll be a problem that you'll deal with later, and then it'll be wonderful then.
We're all going to follow our feelings here. So
Right.
if we feel like doing math, whether it's because we're courageous about it, or whether we want to wield it as a weapon, time will tell.
Math as a weapon.
Yeah.
We're feeling this one out. So
Just saying, maybe I'm Slytherin.
So-
they have weapons, right?
so
They're always
we're-
packing.
So we're dealing with the eukaryotic cell, which is different from the prokaryotic, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
yes.
we're very different because prokaryotic cells are specific to bacterium and
It's really just the bacteria.
Is it really just-
It really just, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's
protozoa as well. Or
the
no?
protozoa usually, I believe the protozoa are under the, they're under the eukaryotes. So really what happened is like, it used to be like kingdom. Remember, you're like kingdom, phylum, and then all the way down. I don't remember all the taxonomy. They like kind of realized that was not true. And so they came up with a category called domain. Domain is now the top category.
Mm-hmm.
So
Whoa.
it's bacteria, archibacteria, and eukarya. And so it's literally like the bacteria, the bacteria-like things that they're kind of like, it's like shit that lives in sulfur and like thermophiles,
The stuff all
halophiles.
under the ocean or like deep
Yeah,
at the
live
ocean.
in salt. Like live in crazy places. That's a whole other domain. They're kind of like, oh, they're kind of like bacteria. I think they may be prokaryotic, but they also don't really know about them. But
They sound like Mad Max characters, like things that can like live in sulfur and salt and shit.
yeah, and they play bone guitars on their little prokaryotic tanks.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude!
yeah.
I'm gonna get one airbrushed on my van.
They're definitely, that would be the baddest ass van if you were just like, no big deal, just some archibacteria, motherfucker.
Yeah, what's your number, girl?
Yeah, but protozoa are part of the like, it's like the protists,
Right.
which are the kingdom of, it's like fungi, plantae, which is just it's plants, but biologists got to do everything in Latin and be little bitches about it. So plantae, really it's just plants with AE at the end. Like,
Right.
What is this? Rome, motherfuckers.
Yeah, if I'm tweeting about it, I need those 2 extra characters. I'm gonna say plant. Sorry, biologists.
Yeah, you're gonna
Don't
say
at me.
You're going at me, biologist. You're going to say plant AF because that's what we say on the internet. Right? Is that cool?
Yeah, no, that's
I don't know.
yeah, no, that's totally
35? I don't know.
You heard
So-
it here, folks.
So we're you heard it here, folks. Alexis is 35.
Yeah.
That was what you wanted everyone to
I
be
feel like
hearing.
we got a big scoop here. I don't know the way
Right.
she said it.
I'm not shy about my age. I mean, we're all going to die someday.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be 30 this year.
Nice. It's
As
a good
am I,
decade.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of 30. If anybody out there is afraid of it, don't be.
Or kill yourself.
awesome.
No,
Yeah.
don't do that. Sorry.
Katie.
Oh, I mean, it'll take your problem get taken care of. I was just
Either
fooling.
way.
Don't do that.
Don't be afraid or kill yourself. Those were actually 2 options on the Sorting Hat quiz. It's
Yeah.
like, you're turning 30. What are you going to do?
We've almost spent we spent some time just
Hey, you chose eukaryotes, not horses, all right?
Right.
Horses are eukaryotic
So it
animals,
makes
by the
sense
way.
that we've gotten to the idea of suicide.
things that make Katie anxious. Discussing eukaryotic cells, so you are stalling hard.
We
So
just slip in some horse shit if that'll relax you.
Oh, it's so much. I'm from Norco, California, so it'd be like home.
You want to get yourself a sweet quarter horse. They're very smart and good temperament.
I was hoping we
Easy
would get
ride.
some horse stuff. When we didn't go with horses, I was a little bit bummed.
Don't worry, I'll drop some horse bombs. I'll drop some horse bombs.
Some horse bombs.
Operation Dumbo drop with horses.
with horses. All right, so we're jumping into the cell.
Yeah.
We're jumping into the cell.
love this
There
thing.
there are some immediate differences between
The prokaryotes and the eukaryotes.
well, just even between if we're just gonna stick with even now an animal cell, so we're not dealing with a cell wall, which a plant has.
Yeah.
and they also have.
And America doesn't either, bitch.
Yeah. Build the cell wall.
Yeah,
and
we're the animal
make
cell of the
Mexico
world.
pay for it. Yeah. Well, we got political on.
Yeah. So
That happens
the
with me. I'm so sorry.
so it doesn't have a cell wall. Instead, it has a phospholipid bilayer.
Yes.
Shall we start there?
Oh yeah, man. You guys know about this thing? It's like it's my absolute favorite thing
It's
about biology.
semi-permeable.
You know your shit,
It's
Barryte.
like it's truly one of the few things that stuck with me, like beyond high school. I was like, oh, this is the one thing that I believe when it decides whether shit's gonna enter or not.
Yeah.
All right, wait, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
You're dealing with Katie Reed. I'm gonna let you know right now. In high school, they made me take a class called senior math. That's where you're too dumb to take any other math classes, so you just like learn how to balance a checkbook. I also don't know anything that we're about to talk about. So semi-permeable means like some stuff can get through and some cannot.
Yes.
That's exactly right. So the structure of the phospholipid bilayer, the bilayer part makes sense, right? It's like a bicycle too. So it's got 2 layers, and the things, the substance that it's made out of, it's basically it's a phosphate group, which doesn't really matter what that is, and then a lipid tail, lipids being fats. So I kind of like to think of the phospholipid bilayer as a bunch of like fatty shit floating in a pool. Because that's really what it is. Like if you put a bunch of pool toys and they all kind of float around and make like a film, that's a really good model of what the phospholipid bilayer is like.
Or my childhood summers.
Yeah, they actually use the term fluid mosaic, which sounds like something
Oh my God.
It sounds like somebody's like Greek, like bisexual aunt would say about
They're
like,
trying
a
to art it
sexual
up.
Summer awakening, right? Fluid mosaic.
Or like a college art show that I don't want to go to.
I don't want to go to any college
The fluid
art show.
mosaic.
Yeah. I don't want to go to any college art show. I'm so sorry. If you're in college and an artist, I don't want to be there unless you have cheese. Do you have cheese?
Oh, they always have cheese and wine.
I mean, they always
nobody
offer
wants
the
to
free
go to a
food
college art
because
show.
they know all college students are starving, and I'm still in my late 20s, and Katie can attest to this, like fighting the weird hyena-like qualities that college instills in you, where anytime there is like open food, you're like oh, we I will come back because we're in the same office. I'll come back and be like, Katie, there's some salad out there. Like,
and he'll get upset if I don't go get this wilted salad that somebody abandoned
it's not
6 hours ago.
wilted, and it's never 6 hours.
What
Let's
house
be real.
does the wilted salad go in? What house does the wilted salad
Oh,
go in?
dude, that's always some like tragic Hufflepuff stuff. The free food.
I don't know. Wilted salad could also be like a Gryffindor, just in the fact that it was like, I'm gonna hang on, guys. Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it. Like, I'm gonna be nutritional for somebody.
Yeah,
and then
like a Gryffindor, but at the home for retired Gryffindors.
oh yeah, like they've seen some shit.
Yeah.
That said, I do feel that the phospholipid bilayer is a Gryffindor.
Oh,
Yes. Tell me more.
In the fact that, I mean, it's very much the gatekeeper, so it has to be making some like hard fast rulings on stuff, which requires you to be a bit ambitious and a bit brave, and you've gotta like stand your ground because you're going to have stuff be running up against you.
Yo, was
little bit.
Dumbledore Gryffindor?
I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah,
think
and like
so.
he was like, "You shall not pass," right?
That you are just doing that to get somebody's goat.
It's yours.
No, he was the one that said "live long and prosper."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My hand is doing
Made a
things.
claw. He
For
wants
people
to-
who can't see, which is everyone, because this is a podcast. Yeah, but Barryte's making a claw. He's
He
making
is
a
he's the avatar of every angry listener right now.
that bitch. That bitch. Talk more about horses, bitch. Is that how your listeners sound? I don't know.
Yeah, they're all like equestrian drag queens.
Oh no, you have a bunch of like My Little Pony bros?
Yeah.
It's a very odd like circle of the internet that just listens. Yeah.
They're like, we're really into like 3 nerd culture films and also My
We're a
Little Pony.
bizarre Venn diagram of
I'm
pop
fine with
culture.
it. Fine with it. I feel that about the phospholipid bilayer because it's like the front line. It is the gatekeeper of what comes in and out of the cell, and also embedded in the phospholipid bilayer are recognition proteins. So there's a certain amount of like having to have command of like a little force to be able to read what other cells are and identify itself. So
I mean, for that very reason, at the same time, there could be an argument made that phospholipid bilayer is a bit of a Slytherin, just in the fact that
It's very
I mean,
selective.
Slytherin is pretty damn selective, and also there's like a bunch of fun crossover. Like all of the houses have like, oh, well, like it could be one way and it could also be another. Like Gryffindor and Slytherin, as far as like taking a stand for things, there's some overlap there.
Of course.
And I feel like Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff have the overlap of like obsessiveness.
Yeah. But I mean, either way you want to throw it, it's one of those two houses for sure.
I'm going to go with Gryffindor. I'm going to back you up on that because I do feel like there is something about the vibe I get from Gryffindor is that sort of like out front, you know? And not that Slytherin wouldn't. Like
I think Slytherin would be a little farther in the castle.
I agree.
Oh yeah, no Slytherin is leading the charge.
No, they're
they're
not in the body.
Their parents make sure that they're not infantrymen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So now
they get the statue of the horse after the Civil War. If you see anybody on a horse, you know, any statue of a guy on a horse, that guy was Slytherin. He was not Gryffindor.
Wait, are you talking about even like native statues?
And at the same time, are you talking about a situation where the horse's hooves are off the ground or on the ground? Because if they're off the ground, it means they died in battle.
You need to sort some monuments.
Ooh, that's a great episode.
That would be fun. Yeah, I didn't know until more recently. But yeah, if both hooves are off the ground, it means that the person was killed in battle. If one hoof is off the ground, I believe it means that they were wounded in battle.
And if all four are off the ground, that means that they became magical creatures that can fly.
How would they do that with a statue?
You know what?
Just like I'm not magnets making it hover.
Yeah. I'm not a sculptor. I don't know these things.
Ask those people at those college art shows.
That's valid. Yeah, we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
Time is a circle.
All right, so now we are entering in through the phospholipid bilayer.
Well, technically we had to take a protein.
Right.
Because, like, unless we're oxygen or another one of those diatomic molecules, I could just slide right through the membrane. We are going to have to go through a channel protein, which is pretty cool. Proteins be everywhere, you guys.
Yeah.
Proteins be everywhere.
Katie, you said that so convincingly.
Well, because I read it like every other word on the Children's Encyclopedia Britannica that I was studying before this episode started.
I don't want anyone out there to take this proteins are everywhere as advice to like go on the South Beach diet or cut out gluten or like
yeah, kids, come on.
You know, just what were the options again? It was be happy or kill yourself. I forget. No, I shouldn't bring that back. That was bad. But like, you know those J-holes who are like, I have a tub of protein.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't be that. Please don't do that. I mean, if you do you, feel your flow, but you know.
You're more than your cells. You know what I'm saying?
Cells. You don't need all that protein.
You are yourself. You are not your cells. Okay?
Yes. You said that very pointedly at me, like you were trying to convince me.
Listen, I know you're going through some stuff.
You should have a TV show. You're like a Iyanla.
I know. I keep saying like weird Dr. Philisms.
You could be the white Iyanla.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Do you remember her? She had really short hair and she was one of Oprah's proteges and she had a show for about 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think she deserved a chance, but she got Wendy Williams, I guess.
I'm fine with that. I love Wendy Williams.
How did Oprah, like when she started OWN, not just bring all of those folks over? Or was she brought on to OWN? No, I don't think so. That was much later.
I know that OWN happened, but I don't know what happened on OWN. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like Vegas.
Right.
Like what happens on OWN stays on OWN.
Yeah.
I think that was their
You start watching
logo.
OWN, you get overwhelmed. All of a sudden you come to and you're like, what did I even watch?
What a great campaign. Oh, overwhelmed. Like, why didn't they do that? Like for Oprah. Like, cause, you know.
Yeah, so let's go back to like
me your own
10 years ago when that channel started.
Yeah.
And give them that advice.
Time is a circle. It's fine. If Arrival taught me nothing, it's that time is a circle.
and
then I cry
nothing.
inexplicably. Yeah, it did teach me nothing. That movie made me so fucking mad.
Oh, me too.
I liked it.
I liked it. It was fine. I just, like, at the end, I wasn't feeling that connected. And then my, like, water just started coming out of my eyes.
Yo, that movie had great imagery. Story made no sense.
You heard it here.
What about the mitochondria?
That's the powerhouse of the cell. I mean, I had been like Gryffindor, but now I feel like that's Slytherin. Mm-hmm. I feel like that is the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah, that's where all the energy is really manufactured from the various ribosomes?
No, ribosomes build proteins.
They build proteins which are not used. Oh, wait. Oh, so sorry. Now I'm having like a brain flash. That means that the mitochondria are. Is that carbohydrates that they're dealing with? No. Yes. No.
Yes. So
okay.
mitochondria is where it's the site of cell respiration, and cell respiration is the analogous process to photosynthesis. They're kind of reverses of each other.
Oh, okay.
So plants turn sunlight into food in the form of sugar. They take sunlight and carbon dioxide and turn that into sugar and give off oxygen as a waste. Water is also given off in the reaction too. But they take in water and they give off water.
And in our case, it's kicking out the carbon.
Yeah, in our case, we need oxygen and sugar to make ATP, and then we give off carbon dioxide as a waste product and water as well.
Right.
So the mitochondrium is like I read it in the Children's Encyclopedia Britannica as like being like a power plant, right?
Yes.
Like making me energy. And the ribosomes are a factory, and they receive the mRNA from the cell core. Taupe.
I did it. You're like a beautiful Arabian stallion who just crossed the desert, and
I love that you've taken on this. I've got to bring in the horses as frequently as possible.
And I'm definitely gonna die, but I powered through.
But you're gonna be elegant as it happens, and you're gonna have that little dish face, and an Arab prince is gonna ride you across the desert.
Oh, I hope that last part is true.
Yeah.
But I would say that elegant is the last word anyone would use to describe me.
Hey, if you believe it, it will be true. I learned that from the Field of Dreams, which is basically The Secret with baseball.
Oh, totally. And ghosts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish that The Secret included more ghosts in its mythology.
The book The Secret?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I follow.
Well, it's not just a book, Michael Barryte. It's
a lifestyle.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
I always get The Secret confused with that fucking guy who called himself Mystery and just like put a hat on.
You mean
when you said that, I thought of that guy from the government wants to give you money with the question mark suit.
The Riddler?
I feel like they all live together in a house. He's like the real life Riddler, but he tapes himself on like lo-fi VHS in a question mark suit and like oversized glasses. He's like that guy from the Talking Heads reject cousin.
Oh man.
And he just was like, the government wants to give you money.
Yeah.
He's
Love
like a
that
shitty
dude.
Riddler.
Like, and he would come on at like
sell a book.
He comes on at like 2 a.m. and he's just running around Washington D.C. screaming at tourists, "The government has money that you could be getting right now."
You could actually like probably do a pretty good impression of that guy.
Oh, dude, I'm ordering a question mark suit tonight.
That's Halloween for this year.
No, that's like every day.
Deep cut.
Work is going to be so strange. So the mitochondria, just to bring it back, because that's my job. We're feeling that it's a Slytherin.
I think so. And here's another cool thing about the mitochondria. They have their own, I believe they have their own DNA. It might be RNA, but they have their own genetic material.
What?
So it is believed, one of the theories of the eukaryotic cell, like how they came to be, is that like early single-celled organisms, like one might have like absorbed another, and eventually the symbiotic relationship became that they just became it became an organelle within another cell. That's one of the leading theories of cell evolution. And the mitochondria, there's a lot of evidence that people are like, oh, like that might have been its own cell. And that got like sort of factored in. It's got its own DNA, and like they can trace your maternal DNA through the mitochondria.
Oh, that's wacky.
Yeah.
Wait,
crazy.
what? So
Yeah.
Okay. So like, it's made up of what potentially was 2 different organisms, like living organisms. What? Oh God.
Which
that makes me just think of like somebody like Dr. What is that, Moreau? Where he like fuses the animals together.
Yeah, it's this horrifying island of nightmares. But that's also
that's what we're built out of.
Have you guys ever
nightmares.
seen Lichen? Lichen on rocks?
Yeah, which is they're terrible for trees.
And it's actually
fucking nerd.
They are. Sorry,
they're terrible.
They're
for
parasites.
Trees.
Look at this whole weird pro Groot platform trying to slip in his pro Groot agenda.
They're like mistletoe assholes in that shit.
They stay on rocks, you Lichen. Get the fuck out of here. lichen are actually a symbiotic relationship between algae, which are a protist, and fungi. So they're not. It's not one thing. It's like two organisms.
But they're also assholes.
They are.
Lichens bad shit.
They're a gang. They team up.
All right, we have put that in the notes. Do not be a lichen and come around. Michael, he'll fuck you up.
But also, on just going off of that, I'd probably say that Lichen and Mitochondria are Slytherin for that reason, and the fact that they were very cunning in like making this thing work.
I feel like that. Like,
yeah, I feel like
sliding into another thing and just
like whether intentional or otherwise, but being like, I'm gonna roll with this, and this
Yeah.
is gonna be like my new jam.
And I don't know if this is Slytherin appropriate, but it just feels like having this sort of like long history and this like long.
Oh no, like at least as far as I remember, like it's always the Slytherins who are like, I come from a long line of pure bloods, and
Yeah.
so like they would definitely be the
They
people
play the
like we
long
have our
game.
own thing going on outside the rest of this.
Yeah, they play along, but it's like they if they wanted to at some point they could leave.
Yeah, also if there are sorts of resources that, that usually plays into the fact that like Slytherins tend to be more materialistic, so they have resources to give, usually like conditionally.
On moving from the mitochondria into the ribosomes,
Another critical part of the cell.
and those are the ones that they're building up. No, they're breaking down. They're building up.
They build up.
They build up proteins.
Lysosomes break down. Ribosomes build up. They build you up, Buttercup.
And lysosomes are only specific to animal cells, correct?
Yes. So that is something that's also like in textbooks. Historically, you'll see that. And I was actually just reading earlier today, I saw a thing that was saying that there's some thought that maybe there are things that are
Lysosomic.
Yeah, and then I think they were calling what were they saying? They don't have the lysosomes, they were like the vacuole in the plant cell. So plant cells don't have the lysosomes, but the vacuole will serve some of the same function or whatever. But they're like, so that's maybe one thing that'll change. But I think traditionally, the lysosomes are selective, like they're only in animal cells.
We're shifting around a little bit.
Do you want to talk more about these ribosomes? Because they're like these little balls that make proteins. And we all know proteins be everywhere.
Yes.
You need them. You need them. I need them. They're very critical.
Yeah. I mean, I am of the mindset I'm of two minds. So ribosomes are specific to, ribosomes are throughout the cell, but they're very heavily populating the rough endoplasmic reticulum.
Yes, that's what makes it rough.
Yeah, because they're lining the whole thing.
Yeah, you can think of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, in case anyone out there is studying for an exam, think of it like a studded jean jacket. It's not just a regular smooth jean jacket.
And you can't just slide your hand across it and try to be sexy. That's gonna hurt.
No, you ever tried to pet Disco's do? No, you'll open your fingers on his bedazzles.
So for that very reason, because I'm just thinking through, there's the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is aligned with ribosomes, and then there's the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which does not have ribosomes, but is responsible for synthesizing lipids, phospholipids, and steroids.
Oh yeah, which steroids are? I mean, they're not really a lipid, but they're kind of in the same category.
Yo, what is lipid, like fat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Oil, butter. Yeah.
Okay, I love
fat.
lipids.
Most of us do.
Well, I don't know, which is always, I was like, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Are you Hufflepuff? They also detoxify. There's like detoxification. Here's a crazy thing. Liver cells have a very high quantity of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And if you get hammered or, I don't know, take a bunch of barbiturates or something, why would you do that? It's not the 70s.
Don't judge me or my lifestyle.
Sorry. Okay. I judged her a little bit. But the smooth endoplasmic reticulum will expand rapidly once if it needs detoxification.
Oh.
For that very reason,
crazy.
and I'm trying to figure out what makes the most sense. I'm wondering if both endoplasmic reticulum are in fact Hufflepuff, but
Dude, I'm saying that from my heart. that they are. Dude, come on.
Both?
Well, see, it's like, I think unequivocally smooth endoplasmic reticulum is like definitely a Hufflepuff.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The rough, there could be the argument perhaps for Ravenclaw.
I feel, I would hear that argument. What's your argument?
I think that it's going in with like a very sort of laser focus on, we're just dealing with proteins here. Like, this is our whole game.
Yeah.
And no.
Well, there's also a thing that the rough does is that, so there's a stage of making a protein.
Mm-hmm.
You have to like put it together. It's kind of like putting beads on a necklace, in case any of you are stringing beads on necklaces. For you Etsy shop owners that are part of the fan base. But then you have to like twist up the bead and like fold it on itself. So protein isn't finished until it folds on itself. And part of the endoplasmic reticulum's job is to decide if it failed or didn't, or passed.
Oh.
Did it fold properly?
Oh, okay.
So if it doesn't fold proproperly, it'll reject it.
It disperses.
Oh, that's some
it.
Ravenclaw shit for sure. Then a Hufflepuff would probably just let it. Like, oh, I tried its best.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ravenclaw is like
Right?
Ravenclaw's a little more just gonna be like, no, this needs to be correct. We gotta get this a perfect fold.
Yeah, it's focused and it's like gotta be right.
Yeah. So then we've got our our endoplasmic reticulum is a little bit different, but it's got those sort of middle houses.
Right?
Like I always feel that Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff are middle houses, which I don't know why. Like I feel as far as the scale of like.
Is this a statement of like class? Like
No, I think it's
Is he
almost
classist?
a morality one, and I've been the one who's normally railed on Katie for being so like anti-Slytherin, but Slytherin does tend to get that bad rap, whereas Gryffindor is sort of
Sure.
celebrated. But and then it's like in the middle you've just got Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff. Like
Got it.
Well, okay, because if we're going like strictly off the books, of which I know very little, it feels like you don't even ever go to the Hufflepuff house in the books, or wait, maybe you do, and you don't go to the Ravenclaw. It's
You
one of
don't.
them. You never ever see the house, so like it's not even necessarily that in this world they are like less important, but definitely to Rowling, they ain't as much shit as anything else.
But-
you know, like they're just there.
yeah.
They're just there because they had to have more than Slytherins and Gryffindors to be interesting.
Yeah.
We have managed to properly sort into all four houses. That said, there are a lot more parts within the cell.
There are.
Within that cytoplasm, and there's cytosol, which
Yes.
is just the goopy gel
I know.
surrounding.
I always got angry whenever I would read a book, like a bio book, and it would be like, cytosol is an organelle. And I was like, no, it's not. It's goo.
I
It's
was always
fucking
under
goo.
the impression that the cytoplasm technically is both the
yes.
organelles and the cytosol.
Yes.
Like that's the
Yeah, cytosol is like the goo, and the cytoplasm is like all of it.
it's all everything.
Yeah.
It's just termed like it's because it's everything except the nucleus. Like the
Yeah.
cytoplasm does not include the nucleus in that because there's
That's its own special thing.
and the cytosol within that is called nucleoplasm or something like that. Like
yeah.
Yo, but what does the goo do?
It just holds it all in place.
it allows for things
okay.
to flow.
It's like
between.
giving it like structure and
No, that's the cytoskeleton.
yeah, but I mean like in terms of like filling up space in between the parts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it just keeps it like ballooned.
Yeah.
It's I guess for that very reason, like cytosol and the cytoskeleton probably fall into a Hufflepuff category of just like
You forget about them until you need them.
Like,
and then
they're-
you're like, oh yeah,
like-
you're there.
like
they're-
Cedric
they're-
Diggory.
they're
Rest in
helpful.
peace, baby.
they're helpful.
Spoilers.
They're
Dude, I don't
helpful,
care.
but they're loyal to the cell. They're making sure that everything is like keeping its cool.
Yeah.
Because like without them, you'd have a problem.
Do Hufflepuffs do kind of like sucky jobs
Oh, hell
sometimes?
yeah.
Thankless sucky jobs?
Oh hell yeah! Like
They're
anytime
probably
someone
the-
has to eat shit in the books, it's always a Hufflepuff.
They're the accountants of the wizarding world.
wow.
Maybe Ravenclaws. Maybe.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're saying that Hufflepuffs would be good enough at math to do
I
accounting.
think they would. Like they're the people within the accounting firm who are like, guys, this is great. Like whereas the Ravenclaws working in the accounting firm are like, oh, we have to look at these numbers, and like they're all always like a little more tense.
Real talk though, I'm thinking and I know this is completely unrelated to anything that we're talking about, if there's a working class majority house, it's probably Hufflepuff. So they get shit on the most. They end up doing the jobs that nobody else really wants to do. And I'm one of them, so. But I'm blue collar as hell.
But not the like shitty working class that is like feels like they're victims.
No.
Immigrants.
We're the beautiful proletariat.
Yeah, the beautiful, like that beautiful Arabian running across the sands.
Are we gonna touch on the Golgi apparatus?
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's not Golgi.
No,
I thought
Golgi.
Golgi sounds like a weird food you'd get at like
it sounds like
Korean barbecue.
Yeah, I was like the Golgi, and I will also take the flank steak. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Get some great sauces on it.
I love those pickles.
The Golgi apparatus is
it's like FedEx,
the post office, and it's really just receiving what has been output, correct, and kind of sending it elsewhere.
Yeah, it really is like packaging into vesicles.
Is it? Forgive me because my knowledge is a little hazy on this. It is not like once things come through the phospholipid bilayer, it doesn't then go to the Golgi apparatus and is like sorted off to other places. It's more once things have been.
That's a very good question. I am fairly certain it is only output.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Not input.
There was a lot quicker way of asking that question, and you quickly got to it.
Hell yeah, I'm to the point. I am Gryffindor. We got places to be.
All right, Golgi Apparatus is a Hufflepuff.
Really?
Yeah. Number one, the post office, dorky as hell. Anyone who works there, you've seen those shorts?
I see those shorts.
Yeah. Second of all, just the name itself is dorky as hell. Golgi Apparatus. It sounds like something from the 1920s that you saw at the World's Fair.
Me and all my boys went down to the dockside and we saw the Golgi Apparatus. Oh boy.
We only paid a nickel.
Bonafide.
I see it as a situation where it very well could be Hufflepuff. I also think it's one of those, like, however the wind blows, it could be Ravenclaw. But I agree that it's a doofy situation where, like, they happily are like, oh, we got this package and away
we're not
it
trusted
goes.
with input. We just take output.
Yeah. I think the dumb name also pushes it over the edge.
Yeah.
And, like, you know how dorky you have to be to have a dorky name within biology terminology?
Dorky. Biologists are dorks. They name shit after dumb shit all the time. There is a gene named Homer. And do you know why? It is named after Homer Simpson.
Of course it is. It's not named after the Iliad.
Hell no. Hell no, it's not named after the Iliad. No, they named it after The Simpsons. Because it's the best show of all time, seasons 3 through 7 only.
Oh, and like I know for sure, like I think also that they've named like heavenly bodies and stuff after like Star Wars shit.
Oh
yeah.
Nerds.
I mean, fucking nerd. You did a lot more with your lives than I have.
And it's pretty fun because they aren't bothering to, like, the pride isn't there. They're like, because a lot of people are like, oh, this is, last name of whatever. Like, you've got the Briggs-Myers test thing or whatever. Like, I think psychologists in general are like very big about getting their names on everything.
Yeah.
And like biologists are like, nah, man, fuck that. Like, we're gonna
I'm gonna name it after a Pokemon I caught a lot when I was 12.
Yeah, like I caught a Kadabra, but this thing isn't gonna be called a Kadabra. It's gonna be called Charlemon.
Yeah, it's gonna be Kadabra with like a weird fucking Latin suffix.
Yeah.
Kadabra.
That is probably super true. You probably have a lot of Hufflepuffs and Ravenclaws in microbiology and cell biology.
There are a lot of in-jokes that have now made it into textbooks, and we just have to refer to that terminology.
And they laugh and laugh on top of their piles of not money.
Of their peer-reviewed studies.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you sleep at night? On top of a peer-reviewed article.
So I very comfortably.
Well, actually, melatonin reacts to the temperature change in my brain.
That sounds
Shut up!
That sounds like a dorky racist talking. Oh, actually, the melatonin.
You're thinking of melanin?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so if you go to CVS and you see melatonin for sale, don't be like, this is a racist vitamin. It's to put you to sleep.
I am like, you think that you've seen ways for me to be dumb, and then I fucking hit it out of the park.
I'm just seeing Katie go up to CVS and be like, "Why are you carrying this?" Why? And they're like, "I don't."
Get woke, motherfuckers! And I just like slide all the bottles off the shelf.
They're like, "It helps you sleep better."
Get woke at CVS.
Yeah, getting woke is the opposite of going to sleep.
Yeah, get woke with melatonin. We'll put that one back in the to do later pile.
That also reminds
never
me,
make it an
the first
appetizing.
time, the first like 3 times I tried to read Endoplasmic Reticulum, I just read Ectoplasm Rectum. I was like, ghost butt, ghost butt, ghost butt.
Go, come on, chant it. It's
Ghost
fun.
butt.
Ghost butt. Now at home. Yeah.
When we say ghost, you say butt.
Ghost. Oh.
Ghost. Ghost.
See, you have so much to live for out there.
Don't kill yourself.
Don't become a ghost with a butt.
No. It's all marketing. Ghosts don't even have butts.
Yeah, that's the real problem.
All right, we
You've
don't
been
know that
lied
for sure.
to.
We don't know that for sure. That's another podcast, though. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Do ghosts have butts?
Those are topics that'll
Katie and
be
Michael.
discussed at
Can
a
a
later
ghost
date.
poop?
Oh, ghost poops will smell awful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I
only
think-
in like certain dimensions.
Mm-hmm. But whenever you pass, like, they don't emit heat; they emit cold.
Yeah.
Like it's especially
If you
cold.
walk into a room and it's freezing, that means like a
There's
ghost is
lots
like
of
a
ghost
giant
shit.
turd.
Oh man, I'm gonna watch horror movies so differently now.
It's so cold.
I assume ghost shit sound like cartoonish fart
Right.
noises
Yeah.
made. with my mouth.
Do we want to keep going in the cellar? Do we want to wrap it up?
Yeah. I don't know. This is your show. I don't
Is
know
there
how long
anything
this
else
shit
that
goes.
you're like stoked on cells that we didn't cover?
No, man. I think we got the big hits.
The
Yeah.
big hits of
All
the,
the hits.
Did we really? I don't know that we sorted the ribosome because the ribosome is. Do
Yeah,
you guys
we-
count that?
Well, we sorted the ribosome within the rough endoplasmic reticulum
Got
as
it.
being
Those
a
are like
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw structure.
But if you think that the rough endoplasmic reticulum is different and the ribosomes are the Ravenclaws,
No, I think it's real. I feel like it can't be.
Like,
I don't want to
separated.
separate it. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's good to put it all in one. I guess. I mean, if we could go bold and get that nucleus.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
do
we're
this
going in.
nucleus.
This-
We're going in.
we're going in.
All right.
It'll make
Pretty important.
All right, diving into the nucleus. What can you tell us about the nucleus? Because I did not do any read-ups
Well,
on
the fact
this.
that it has its own membrane is a pretty big deal.
It's the nucleol. Oh, there's the nucleolus on the inside.
Yes, the nucleolus is like when you look at the diagram of the nucleus. The
Mm-hmm.
nucleolus is that little like dot right in the center.
Mm-hmm.
The nuclear envelope
Oh.
is also known as the nuclear membrane.
Mm-hmm.
Prokaryotic cells do not have a nuclear bound nucleus. Their genetic material is just like So the fact that the nucleus has a membrane is something that makes eukaryotes
Mm-hmm.
unique. And yes, that was a pun. I was
Gross.
spelling you. I was spelling you.
Unique with an EU.
I'm brave. I am Gryffindor. I was courageous about that pun.
And I am a
And you
dork
were
and I laughed at
determined
it.
to
on
stick
Hufflepuff.
the landing.
I spelled that unique with an EU, which there's some potential there for the European Union to do some marketing if they're looking for an advertiser. I don't know why I'm trying to launch a career in marketing right now. I don't
Especially,
want to
like,
do that.
Especially for government bodies.
Yeah, for Oprah and for government institutions. It's Italian.
So nucleus are like nucleus is like the guy who's like building the genetic material, right? Like RNA, DNA stuff. Is that right?
they're-
All your DNA is in that bad boy.
Yeah, and they're the ones calling the shots.
Yeah.
This is a dictatorship of sorts.
Yeah, like the ribosomes cannot make proteins without mRNA. And mRNA is what like goes into the nucleus and like reads like reads the DNA and then it's like yes and then takes the message
It's
out.
like the ticker tape from
Yeah.
I always saw it
instructions.
as the ticker tape
Yeah.
from like the stock market
Mm-hmm.
and just there's somebody
Oh.
so
So this is the stock
we
market.
need to make more proteins.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the financial district of the cell. Like, and also like, is it, so like, if the nucleus goes down, everything else is fucked, right? How do cell? Okay, I was like,
Definitely.
wait, did I just say something incredibly stupid?
No, definitely. That would be very bad. You could probably make the argument that many of these organelles are extremely important. Mm-hmm. There's also, I always love to click on the list of diseases that are caused when things malfunction.
Ooh,
I'm big on diseases.
dude, those are gonna be my
We'll
risky
have to
clicks
have you
tonight.
back for diseases.
Yeah,
oh,
man.
like messed up ones. Oh god, I'm scared already.
Like anencephaly.
Ah!
Oh, that's messed up.
That
What's
sounds like
that?
that sounds like a pair of twins that you knew and you went to summer camp with.
Anencephaly.
And they have a secret language.
And they know all the lyrics to every song from Grease and Grease too.
Anencephaly are definitely the ones who have that twin connection that's a little too eerie. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, you're on like different bunks, but you somehow like were laughing about.
Yeah, and also you guys have already like predetermined which one of you would have to die if one of you had to die. That's an actual pair of twins. One of the like they decided like they were like psychotic and they decided like one of us has to die for the other one to have like a full life and like the other one just died in her sleep.
Oh.
I don't remember their
like,
names.
Like willed herself to die in her
anencephaly.
sleep.
Hold on.
Like this
Creepy
that's on the level of the
twins.
Buddhist monks who are able to like slow their heart down.
Hell yeah.
Like that's
The June and Jennifer Gibbons, I think, was them. Yeah. They didn't speak to anyone else. They had a language that they had developed entirely on their own. They were put in a group home, and then like they decided one of us has to die. One of them died in their sleep, and then after that, the other twin just started speaking normally and like lived a regular life.
what?
Yeah. We should just do an episode on creepy twins.
Yeah, the closest thing I've come to that, this isn't that creepy, but I saw a thing about two twins attached at the forehead, and they were like really like they got along real well. And like the smaller one who was like, they were like one of them was like regular size and the other one was like small, and the small one like had to like ride in a basket. Mm-hmm. In the cart that the other one like rode around, and she wanted to be a country singer.
Oh, cool.
And there was like I just have like a visual in my head of them kind of like turned around because like one of them, the way they were situated, she had to put her back to everybody.
They
so
weren't
the other one could
sharing any part of brain. Like their skulls were like separate, or they weren't.
They were mostly separate, but they were attached, and I think they did have. I don't know if their brains touched, but like they definitely could not be separate.
They obviously couldn't be separated because like fluids were something.
But I don't remember if their brain structure touched or not.
On the subject of conjoined twins, have you ever seen the musical Sideshow?
No, but
It's real good.
Good. Oh,
It's like creepy but great. I mean, granted, I saw like the performance I saw of it was definitely when I was in high school, so maybe it wasn't as great as I remember it. But it's really interesting, like relationship-y.
good premise.
Yeah, it's a fun premise. Anyway, the nucleus.
The nucleus, and we were talking about anencephaly. Oh,
yes.
Well, that. Okay,
Oh
so,
yeah.
yeah, we skipped over it. So anencephaly is if you've ever heard of encephalitis, it's like an inflammation of the layer around your head. So it's like, ceph is head, and encephalitis is like a thing that with your head. Anencephaly, if you break the word down, some of you might already be like ahead of me. It means like does not have a head.
what?
Does not have a head. So it's a thing that happens like during birth. It's a defect where like the head just doesn't like form. It like the neural tube doesn't finish closing. So
What?
it's like ugh.
What is there?
So just
like
a headless.
a neck tube.
It'll be like not a fully developed head, and they're not. Sometimes they miscarry, but sometimes they like go to term kind of, or like stillborn, or sometimes they'll be born, but they can't live under that condition. So they'll like die within.
So they're just like mush-headed.
Well, here's the worst thing. Yeah, like not. There's various forms of not complete head, and like when they are born, sometimes like, I'll be honest. If I found out I had a kid with anencephaly, I'd be like, let's just try again, get rid of that. Let's round 2. That's not a viable human. But some people don't believe in that, and they tend to be the kind of people who not only will carry it to term, they will then like put a funny like hat on it to like cover the deformity and take like pictures of it.
I'm
a monster, so I look at the galleries of it, and it makes me laugh because it's like a little crocheted hat, and I'm like, that's not We all know it's under there.
Oh, I'm like, I'm still having so much trouble. I mean, obviously, my curiosity is going to get the better of me, and I'll be looking at this. But like, I'm having so much trouble even visual, and I'm like I'm having trouble visual. I'm just gonna stop myself right there.
You're gonna look it up. The pictures aren't that bad. They're not like awesome, but the ones where they like put a funny little hat on them and are like my angel baby, like those are. They mostly look like normal babies. Sometimes a little.
Do they?
Off,
can they develop?
It almost
no,
no. Because I remember one case of it, like this couple was like being like, oh god,
were they the ones fighting to keep the kid on life support?
Yeah,
that happens sometimes.
They
live for like 2 years.
They think that their angel baby is somehow going to like grow like the part of their head back. They think it's that God's somehow going to make this happen for them.
Oh man,
and they
God don't have time to put heads on babies.
In the case of that, yeah, I mean, in some cases you can have like a child born incredibly prematurely. Like, for example, if you've ever listened to Radiolab, there, I think it's called 23 Weeks and 6 Days or something like that. It's an amazing episode, but it's about this baby that was born like only 23 weeks and 6 days, or like something like.
And they can keep
and
them.
They can survive
definitely
in that scenario, but in a scenario like what we're talking about, like it
just doesn't.
No,
it's like didn't form. Right.
I'm gonna put it out there that like you're gonna thrive more if you have all of the head that a human usually does.
Yeah, you should have all the head. Look, anyone out there listening who doesn't have a head, like. I'm not going to say kill yourself, but I just,
I don't know how you're listening to this podcast.
I don't know how you're listening to the podcast.
Who's transcribing this?
We've had like a severe amount of darkness on this episode.
Yeah.
Well, you got Alexis in the room.
Yeah, man.
You were the one who at the start of it said, kill yourself, Katie.
I don't think that's necessarily dark.
But
I think it's just being practical.
Don't become ghosts, guys. You
won't have a
will smell terrible.
I'm gonna get haunted by somebody
who
is mad at this podcast.
Yeah. Katie, when you come in next time and you're like, it was real cold in my room, I'm not going to feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be damned to need a light sweater for the rest of my life.
Where would we put the nucleus though?
Dude, I'm gonna say Ravenclaw. Am I being too?
Is that, because there's a lot of control.
There's the part of me that thinks it's a Slytherin.
I know, but we do have a Slytherin already.
Well,
but
just because we already have a Slytherin, we already have everybody assigned.
I know, but aren't Slytherins picky?
Slytherins are picky, but that's also great.
Is the nucleus.
Yeah, that's great for the benefit of the nucleus, because usually in all cases, cells are doing very, very specific things. Mm-hmm. Which could lean it towards a Ravenclaw for sure.
Only because it seems like it has a lot, because like it's like writing and reading these materials, right? Or is it only writing it?
No, it's all of it. So DNA replicates, and that's one thing you had to learn about, where it basically like it unzips itself and then it creates more of itself. And it also gets transcribed, and that is when it gets like it's remember when you used to do like leaf rubbings or like turkey hand turkey or leaf rubbing. Transcription is a little bit like leaf rubbing, and that the mRNA comes and like makes a copy off the DNA.
Right.
And then it sends those out to make as instructions to make protein.
Yeah, because it goes through and it just lines its ribbon up of sorts with it and goes, oh, it's CTAG,
exactly.
ATCG.
This is more complicated than I thought, because I think the house most likely to do a leaf rubbing is the Hufflepuff.
So,
but it's a very advanced leaf rubbing.
Now there's the part of me that is like, ooh, can I remember it? At least one of these things. Is it guanine? Is Guam
very close.
Guamine
You're confusing it with the island of Guam. It's guanine.
Guanine.
Oh, there we go.
So there's guanine. No, I'm not going to remember any of
Cytosine.
Cytosine.
Adenine. I think it is thymine.
Thymine? Oh, I was so
you were
close.
Very close.
Like this all just came
like click,
just flying into the back of my
brain. Do you remember the one that's in RNA? Starts with a U.
Yeah, no, I know, and I knew it was a U, and you stole that from me just
so
now.
sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
I believe you that you
I do not know.
Uracil.
Yeah, okay.
Which like I don't know if I had to sort between like mRNA and like DNA, like mRNA is like definitely a Hufflepuff. Because, like, Uracil, come on. What's that? Uracil.
Yeah.
Gets the job done, but it's like, Uracil.
Man, there honestly, when dealing with the nucleus, I feel like there's a very strong argument that can be made in any direction because the nucleus is doing so much.
It is Hogwarts. I mean, maybe we can't even sort it. Maybe the nucleus is just Hogwarts.
Everything can be sorted.
Everything
can be sorted. I am throwing that one down, and we're gonna walk away from
right.
this at least having sorted the nucleus very clearly and definitively.
All right, I'm gonna say, it has its own membrane, which means it's harder to get into, and probably is more complicated. So I would go ahead and dismiss Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff just because, like I said, they often are drawn with like greater swaths. So we're gonna say either Gryffindor or Slytherin.
I am going to take it back to the statement that we made all the way at the very beginning when we said that Gryffindors were the gatekeepers and Slytherins are always deep in the castle. And for that very reason, it is like without question a Slytherin.
I'm gonna say Gryffindor because I know any fucking 7th grader out there, if they can only name one part of a cell, they can name Harry Potter or the nucleus. They know who that is. That is like the star that even if you don't know exactly what it does or what its history is, you know who it is. So I'm going to say it's a Gryffindor because it's the most famous.
It is famous. It also feels a little bit like Dumbledore. Like he was Gryffindor and he was leading the charge from within the castle.
Okay. I can see that argument, and also now playing my own devil's advocate.
And like Dumbledore, Nucleus would say, do or do not do. There is no try.
I'm gonna.
That was Dumbledore. That was
you're just far enough away from me.
That you can't punch me in the face.
I wouldn't punch you in the face, but I would just tip your
my
chair over.
And of course, I would just let it happen. Even like my reaction is not cat-like at all.
I can see that, and also if we're just looking at it from, I mean, they're leading the charge as to what they're doing. It again is such a like, the Slytherins and Gryffindors are so either or in so many cases.
Who had the idea for Hogwarts? Because if you're saying that like the nucleus is the closest to being what would symbolize Hogwarts, which house do you think symbolizes Hogwarts overall? Like who was the one who's like, let's do this, let's make our own school, dudes?
It does. I mean, yeah. Which house put up Hogwarts?
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
Nerds.
I mean, it was
all of them?
4 heads of houses met and were like, we're going to start a thing. Yeah,
the
4
but
of them.
But who called the meeting?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
I mean,
slide into the DMs.
There's the part of me that is
Nerds,
obviously
help.
just going to say it was Gryffindor who said, like, we should start a wizarding school.
They seem the loudest.
Is J.K. Rowling a Gryffindor?
I don't know. Probably.
She's probably some secret 5th house that she hasn't told us about yet.
Yeah. Or she was sorted into the American house school, whatever thing.
Wait, what's that?
Oh gosh,
there's an American school?
Yeah, there's an American school.
That's what those new movies about the Fantastic Beasts are about. Like they're introducing the American parts of the magical world.
And I can't pronounce. It's like Ilverimore or something.
Also, they take a lot, like very blatantly from native culture, and it's like, oh no, I can't enjoy this because it's really gross.
I never saw that movie, but people told me about how what it is like, it's just like a lot of native culture or like being set in like Harlem, and they've completely eliminated everyone of color.
I mean, there's some diversity in there. I mean, my big issue with it is
Benedict Cumberbatch's face.
No, and
was he in the? Oh no, that's Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah, Eddie Redmayne, who I thought did pretty well in it.
Who was in that movie that won White though?
What? The president of whatever. I mean, it was like one person.
Yeah, but that's not a very big.
No,
part,
it's
though.
not a great ratio, at all. My issue with it is narratively more for what the saga is going to be. I want it to be Indiana Jones with Newt Scamander, just like happening upon different cultures within the wizarding world, and because nothing would be cooler than like the next magical beasts or fantastic beasts and where to find them being set in like China.
Oh yeah.
And so you just get to see like what's the magic scene in China like, and you're like, because that shit would be bonkers.
That would be great.
But at the same time, purely based on what we saw of J.K. Rowling's interpretation of America, like you'd be worried that it's going to be like, oh, what's the Orient like? And you're like,
oh god, yeah,
like that's
because
the way.
Because what it comes down to is Rowling basically did the equivalent of saying, what if Jesus was a powerful wizard?
Okay.
Yeah, she did that with actual like native religious
Well, with the Native American culture, like the descriptors that they used, they just sort of made it seem like, in like the reading of it, you're like, oh, the Western, like in the UK, they figured out how to use wands, where like the rest of America like didn't realize that and prayed to the Mother Earth and things like that. And you're like, okay, that's cool.
For anyone who can't see me, I'm pulling at my collar like
we've deviated very
okay,
far.
so while we talked about this
We're
stuff.
woke, though.
Okay,
Fuck your melatonin.
Gryffindor's first name was Godric.
Yep.
He also was the original owner of the Sorting Hat, which creates your identity from nothing.
Okay.
So
Great.
I'm gonna say if the Sorting Hat is the one who's doling out information about like what your capability is going to be, and it's tied back to Godric Gryffindor, I'm going to say, like the Sorting Hat, the Nucleus is Gryffindor material.
All right.
I think I gotta go with Gryffindor.
That's fine.
That's maybe
I'm
the most
fine.
informed opinion I've ever had about anything.
I'm usually like here to play devil's advocate on things, truth be told.
I'm here to play devil's advocate, but not in the way you say. I'm here to play the movie star, and I believe it was Keanu Reeves. And
Are you also thinking of Constantine? Wasn't he in that? And that was also religious in some way?
Was he in two different movies about the devil?
Wait, I think, wasn't Devil's Advocate Al Pacino?
I think so. I think both Constantine and Devil's Advocate were Keanu Reeves and Al
Dude,
Pacino.
I would love it if like a bunch of movies were like Keanu Reeves movies were reimagined with Al Pacino. Like imagine what The Matrix would have been like.
Oh.
I know Kung Fu! Ah!
What's these spoons about?
Him just stopping the bullets with his like,
Oh God.
and with that, I would like to thank Alexis Simpson for joining us on this episode of The Sorting Hat, which is far longer than any episode we've done.
My style.
We went on many a tangent, but we did manage to sort many of the items, many of the organelles within a eukaryotic cell, which was no small feat. We can find you at itsalexis.com.
Yeah, man, that's on the internet.
Oh wow, cool.
You also have a Twitter handle.
Yeah, every online identity of mine is like amutepiggy. It doesn't make any sense. I picked it when I was 12. AMUTEPIGGY.
Gotcha. You can find more from me at Belated Media on Twitter.
And I'm always at that Katie Reed. Talk to me about anything you want, especially creepy twins. And please don't kill yourself. I was just joking about that, guys.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, please don't do that.
I love you.
So thank you all once again. And this has been the Sorting Hat Podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.